All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thursday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show from our New York City studios. Boy, do we have a show for you today. First, we're going to kick it off with Rick Santorum in just a matter of moments, and then Bill Richardson, the former governor of New Mexico and former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, will join us as well. The anchor baby controversy, immigration, that's what it's all about. Donald Trump, of course, started it, and the term anchor babies now, some people don't like it. Donald Trump got into a confrontation with the reporter yesterday, which you'll see in just a moment. So why don't we do that, and then Rick Santorum could weigh in on that, and I understand he just gave a speech today, too, we'll talk about. So here's Donald Trump with an ABC News reporter.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct, and yet everybody uses it?
Look it up in the dictionary. It's offensive.
I'll use the word anchor baby. Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
All right, folks, joining us now is my friend Rick Santorum, former senator for the great state of Pennsylvania, of course, Republican presidential candidate, the man who won Iowa 4 years ago. Hello, Senator.
How are you?
Good. Good to talk to you. So where are you right now?
I am. I just left the National Press Club, gave a speech on the issue of immigration, and now just doing a lot of radio interviews.
All right. Well, included here is the TV interview, so I'm glad you're here. So let's talk about immigration. I know that yesterday you agreed basically, at least with the concept raised on anchor babies, and I'll ask you. Well, first of all, what you just heard that exchange between Donald Trump and an ABC News reporter, the reporter saying anchor babies, that term is offensive. Where do you weigh in on that term?
Well, look, I weigh in on the issue of whether we should, whether the law provides that anybody who's in this country who has a child here is entitled, that child is entitled to birthright citizenship, and I think that's an open question, and I think it's one that the Congress can weigh on and should weigh in on. And I think people who are here illegally, who have a child here, those children should not be going forward, should not be considered U.S. citizens. I think we should have a law that makes that clear, and that's what I propose today.
Okay, so going forward, so the kids who are born here and who have been born.
I don't think you can. No, I don't think anyone's talking about taking. If someone, has their citizenship papers because the law was interpreted in a certain way that gave someone citizenship, you can't retroactively pass a law to deny people their citizenship.
Okay, but this would be, and there's a misconception out there, I think, that you have to repeal the 14th Amendment. Isn't it a fact, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm no legal scholar, that the Constitution provides for Congress to determine who gets citizenship in this country, and could it be done with a bill passed signed by the President?
My answer to that in reading the 14th Amendment, and that's the operative language, is that the language says that you have to be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and born in this country. And if it was just simply born in this country, they wouldn't have the language subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So the question is, who determines jurisdiction? In my opinion, that's the Congress. Congress can determine who has the jurisdiction, who doesn't. Now, I would say that there's another reading of that that is, I think, actually a reasonable reading of the 14th Amendment that says that the Congress can't do that. But that's a decision that actually is appropriately left up to the Supreme Court. These are the kinds of decisions the Supreme Court should be making with respect to how do we interpret somewhat vague language in the Constitution, not doing what they did and have been doing routinely, is creating new constitutional rights. I think that's a one that I think you can have legal scholars on both sides that make very good points. I happen to come down on the side that Congress can make that call.
So am I correct here in hearing and assuming, not just based on what you told me, but also from what I've heard today, that the Supreme Court has really never weighed in on whether the 14th Amendment covers these babies born of illegals? Have they ever ruled on that? No,
to my knowledge, they have not, and that is an open question, and one that if the Congress were to pass a statute that said that they were not, that there was a limitation, I have no doubt the Supreme Court would rule on that. I think it would be a pretty even bet right now as to what they would decide.
So, oh, it's okay. So again, you would favor the Congress to pass a law. You, as president,
Yes.
would sign it that going forward, no longer would these babies born of illegals get citizenship rights, birthright in the United States, but you'd leave those who were already born before the bill was passed alone.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I don't know of anyone that's really suggesting that you can revoke someone's citizenship after it's been given to them.
Okay, and as far, and again, you know, there's been much said. I'll just ask you one more time. This anchor baby, Jeb Bush used it and said to the reporter, "You don't like it? Give me another word." And of course, Donald Trump has used it. I mean, is there another word, or do you have a word, or do you have a problem with anchor baby?
I frankly have never used the term as far as I know. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't recall ever. I really just discuss it in terms of whether this should be the case going forward.
Okay.
As far as separating, you know, I got into this today at the National Press Club as to whether, as a result of these children being born here, whether it's inappropriate to separate children from their parents. And my response to that was simply, the parents put their children in this situation, and they knew they were in doing so that they had broken the law, and that there was a chance that they would be separated. That's not the government's problem. It's the parents who have put their family in that situation. And I can tell you that my own personal situation, my grandfather left my father for the first 7 years of his life. He couldn't come to this country. My father couldn't because he was not permitted to under the current immigration law. And my grandfather thought it was worth it to spend 7 years, get his citizenship, and then bring his family over. So, you know, these decisions are made every single day, and it would be made in the case of folks who have children who are citizens of this country, just like my grandfather had to make that decision.
All right, but so when you say, now I just want to clear up from my own mind, when you say separating kids, of course, under your bill, they wouldn't be separated because neither one would be citizens. So who are you talking about separating here?
Well, no, I'm talking about if you look at the children who are born in this country now, they are citizens, and,
right?
And their parents or grandparents are not.
Oh, I see.
And
okay.
And they would be subject to removal. But,
well, what is
the
your
children
policy on that? How did you address that today with as far as what to do with the illegals that are here?
What I've said is I've had this position consistently, which is you enforce the law, and that is that you put all businesses under E-Verify. You get rid of sanctuary cities, and you have a situation whereas as you find people in this country who are here illegally, you go through the process of removal.
Okay, so do you agree with Donald Trump on that concept?
I don't know. It's hard for me to separate some of the language from some of the policy. What's the underlying policy? When he says that we're not going to break up families, but we're going to deport everybody. I don't think you can deport people who are citizens of the United States, for example. So I don't know what the policy is, but all I would say is that there's a lot I do agree with Donald Trump, and I tried to lay that out in pretty strong detail today at the National Press Club.
Who will be the nominee of the Republican Party?
Obviously, I think it's going to be Rick Santorum. I know that's counter to what a lot of people say, but I feel very good that we have the right message.
How important is Iowa to you? You won it 4 years ago. If you don't win Iowa or come in second or third, would you reevaluate?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I didn't run for president 4 years ago, and when your time is up, you realize when at least I did 4 years ago when it wasn't fruitful to continue on, and if we're ever in that position this time around, I have no problems in making that call.
Well, thank you very much, Rick. Always great to talk to you, and we wish you the best of luck. Okay, Rick Santorum, ladies and gentlemen, and very interesting news to come out of the interview on two fronts. He spoke to the National Press Club today. Says he never used the term anchor babies, as far as he knows. Doesn't and won't use it now. Didn't use it. I tried to get him to weigh in on whether he likes it or doesn't. Anyway, and also came out with his own immigration policy, saying going forward, if they could change the law, quote unquote anchor babies, that's my word, would not be granted birthright. But also, he's the first candidate, I believe, to say that if he doesn't do X, Y, or Z, come in first, second, or third in Iowa or any primary, he will reconsider his candidacy. That's interesting. So we made some news. Bill Richardson is next. Don't go away.